Hey guys, welcome back to another great game of CDH. It's been a few months since Lord of the Rings has come out, and it has certainly made an impact on the format. We're seeing One Rings galore, as well as the most hyped card from the set, Orcish Bowmasters. But question to the viewers, is the Bowmaster an overrated card? I've heard people on both sides of the evaluation, but would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Starting us off is Jordan on Teferi Temporal Archmage. This is one of the OG CDH decks of the format. Timevale Teferi is a big mana mid-range deck, aiming to drop a bunch of rocks to get out Teferi. Then untap them to make lots of mana, or sleight of hand to gain a card advantage, while deploying stax pieces such as Back to Basics or Stasis. Next up is Hidden Planet X, piloting Nixilis, Captive Kingpin. This is actually a Rakdos Storm list. Its goal is to a fast Ob and use its ability to exile and play cards off your library. It has a great source of card advantage. Plus, he even has his own one-card combo with All Will Be One. And as a backup, Hob grows so large so quickly, so you can really use him to pressure or take your opponents out. In the third spot is Fernando on Najeela. This is a 5-color Thasos Consultation list that backdoors into an infinite creatures and combats combo with Najeela, who even just left alone can amass a horde of warriors to take their opponents out. And bringing up the rear is Gabe on Tasigur. This is a combo control list whose goal is to use Tasigur as a cheap creature to Eldritch Evolution away for either Toxrill or Hullbreaker Horror. It has a lot of fast mana to help accelerate out of value engines such as Sylvan Library or Rhystic Study. Then, along with a suite of counterspells and removal, controls the board. But without further ado, let's get on to the gameplay. Jordan starts off the game by cracking a Misty Rainforest to grab a basic island, shortcutting as he casts a turn 1 Mystic Remora. Hidden has a Verdant Catacombs and starts planning out his turn.
But I gotta go fast! I gotta go fast!
If you give me cards, then I have to give you cards.
What's that?
What are you doing? Is that a trap card from Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, I'm just thinking
Morphing?
out.
Is it? He's got Exodia. He's ready.
Shit!
Hidden cracks his fetch for Badlands and casts a Chromox.
Romux?
Oh my god. See?
Yeah.
What do you expect me to do?
Alright, well, I mean, y'all are making him
We'll
draw
just give him
cards.
all the cards, we lose fast, and then we start again. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Hidden imprints a Disciple of the Vault and passes after that. Fernando cracks a Scalding Tarn for a tropical island and casts a Carpet of Flowers. This triggers the Mystic Remora, and in response to the trigger, Hidden flashes in a Bowmaster. The Orc ETBs and pings Jordan to amass 1. Jordan then draws off his fish and is pinged again. Fernando then heads to his second main and uses his Carpet for a black mana to Imperial Seal. Jordan draws and is pinged again, with Fernando getting to search out a card to put on top. Gabe shocks in a Breeding Pool and also plays a Chromox. Jordan draws and takes 1, with Gabe imprinting a Black Sun Zenith under the Mox. A Jeweled Lotus then comes out, with Jordan drawing another card and taking 1 from the Bowmaster. This lets Gabe then crack his Lotus to cast his commander Tasigur. Jordan has another island and casts a Mox Diamond. He discards another island and remembers to let his fish go bye-bye. 2 mana then lets a Grim Monolith come out, and surprisingly, he just passes after that, discarding a Trinket Mage due to hand size. Hidden then on his turn casts a Rakdos Signet and heads to combat. He sends his 5/5 Orc at Gabe, who then takes the hit. Fernando untaps and activates his Carpet for 2 black, playing an island as land for turn. Tapping 2 islands, he slams in Hurley Thasos, who resolves, and responding to the ETB, casts a Demonic Consult. Although luckily for the table, force-feeding cards to Jordan paid off, as he casts a Force of Will, exiling a Transmute artifact to do so. The Demonic is countered, and Fernando then resolves the Thasos ETB, taking 1 to keep on top. Gabe plays a Swamp and passes. Jordan has a Buried Ruin as land, as to not feed the Carpet, and follows it up with the Sensei's Divining Top. Hidden is short on lands, but has a Cabal ritual to help power out his commander, Omnix. Hidden then heads to combat, sending his 5/5 Orc at Gabe, with the Bowmaster heading at Jordan. There are no blocks, with Jordan taking 1. This triggers Ob to gain a counter and exile a Polluted Delta, which is pretty lucky, as it's a land that Hidden was hoping for, as he plays it. He's worried about an Oppo agent from Gabe and passes after that. Fernando activates his carpet for double red and casts his commander Najeela. Gabe plays a Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth as land, with Jordan at his end step intuitioning. Turns out there was no Oppo agent, as Jordan finds a Chain Veil, a Mana Vault, and a Basalt Monolith. Gabe then ends up giving him the Mana Vault, with Jordan binning the rest. Jordan untaps and floats 3 colorless, casting a Mana Crypt and tapping to float a total of 5 colorless mana. 2 mana is then used to crack his Buried Ruin to get the Chain Veil back to hand, with the last of his mana being used on his commander Teferi. The Planeswalker then resolves and downticks to untap 4 permanents, tapping his Mana Vault and a Grim Monolith to help cast his rescued Chain Veil. There are no responses from Hidden or Fernando, but Gabe does have something at least, as he channels an Ottawaru to bounce Teferi back to Jordan's hand, who, luckily for the table, only has 5 mana left.
You guys just let me win turn 2. We would have been so much better. Next game, make some progress. And now we're waiting here, we're doing math.
Yeah, fuck. Alright.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Jordan then blind tops to draw, hoping to find another mana rock, triggering the Bowmaster to put a point of damage at his face. Although Hidden does respond to all this by cracking his fetch for an untapped Blood Crypt. Jordan is then pinged and the Ob triggers again, although doesn't hit anything relevant. Jordan then follows this up with a copy artifact to copy his Grim Monolith, finally ending his turn there. Hidden heads to combat and makes a deal with Gabe to allow the Bowmaster in if the Orc army heads at Jordan. Hidden agrees and sends his 6/6 army and his 6/5 Ob at Jordan, with the Bowmaster heading at Gabe. This triggers Ob again, exiling a Twin Flame, with Hidden on his second main casting an exiled Roiling Vortex. Following that up with his Twin Flame to copy the Bowmaster to ping Jordan again, amassing again, triggering Ob and exiling a Sulphurous Springs, which he plays as land for turn. Fernando untaps, takes 1 from the Vertex, with Hidden exiling a Saw in Half from Ob. Fernando then shocks in a Watery Grave and heads to combat, setting Najeela at Hidden, with the newly created warrior also heading at Hidden. Then on his second main, Fernando activates the carpet for 2 green, ending his turn casting an Okame Adversary. Gabe plays a Forest as land and heads to combat. He smacks Jordan for 4 with Tasigur. Jordan untaps and takes 1 from the Vertex, and another one from his tap mana vault. Hidden exiles 2 cards off the top, and at this point we also remember Gabe also needed to take 1 as well, and Hidden exiles another card. Jordan then on his main phase casts a High Tide into his commander Teferi. Gabe does have response as he cycles a Lonely Sandbar to draw, triggering the Bowmaster once again to ping Jordan, and trigger Ob to exile a Rite of Flame. Still not having an answer though, Gabe then activates Tasigur to mill a few cards and gain a Trickbind back to hand. The Walker then resolves and downticks to untap his stuff, following that up by activating the Chain Veil. And for those that don't know the line, what happens here is the Chain Veil activations stack. So if activated 10 times, every Planeswalker this turn can activate 10 times. This lets Jordan activate Teferi a bunch of times, killing the Walker, and then with the leftover mana recast him a bunch, letting him uptick and downtick as well to sleight of hand his way through his deck. Then he can find Isodramatic for actual infinite mana, and then with a Blue Sun or Stroke of Genius draw the whole table out, winning him the game. And before I get onto the game review, I do want to thank a special Patreon member, Josh Schutt, for his support of the channel, along with all of our other Patreon supporters as well. Game review. Well, I guess that's what you get when you feed the fish. I was hoping that after we stopped Jordan the first time, someone would actually have an answer to Teferi, or at least give us a little more time, especially when he was dead on the crackback from the swing from Ob. But unfortunately, neither Fernando or Gabe drew much interaction. Well, at least to deal with Planeswalkers. They were both holding creature removal. As for the Bowmaster, it honestly didn't impress me as much as I wanted it to. Maybe it was the fish leaving play a little too early before I could stick my ob, but other than that, even the 5/5 wasn't enough pressure to counteract the cards Jordan got. But what do you think about the Orc? I know it's still a good card, but I honestly thought this was going to be the new Hull Breacher. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. And as always, I want to thank all the players who joined for the games. And remember, never give up, even if you're dead on board. I'll see you guys later.